and welcome to Smarket's Match Betting Podcast. I'm Amanda, I'll be your host while we explore all things match betting throughout this series. Smarkets is one of the leading betting exchanges, a crucial tool on your match betting journey. Smarkets offers unbeatable pricing on a sophisticated and slick betting and prediction platform. Today on the podcast, we've got Paul King, the founder of the original match betting software, Oddsmonkey.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming. Obviously, last time you were here, you did tell us a little bit about Oddsmonkey and the whole story. But I'd like to take this opportunity today to delve a little bit deeper into sort of how you got the idea and how you came to build what Oddsmonkey is like and how it grew to what it is today.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the very start. Mm-hmm. How did you get the idea? Were you interested in match betting before?
So as I mentioned before, I first came across match betting through the Martin Lewis Money Saving Expert website. It was big on there on the forums, but it was a bit of a boring read. It was all text-based, no videos or anything to learn it. I tried a couple of times and it didn't quite sink in. But eventually went back. I had a bit of a need for some spare cash, so that was my motivation. Read through, got to that penny drop moment, and it made sense. So started making money from matched betting, and then realised that it was quite a manual process. So there was lots of sort of manual checking of different odds from different websites. You needed like a couple of screens with different websites open, and it took longer. And I also sort of realised that I can't check every set of odds for every event and outcome across the whole website and compare those with another one. So I was aware that I was probably making less money doing it that way. So I was a computer programmer. That was my day job, working at Enfield Council in North London. Not very glamorous if you were living in Enfield back then and you wanted the day that your wheelie bin was collected to be changed, then I probably wrote the form that you'd do that on. But I had the skills to write software. I worked with databases, so just set myself a little sort of pet project to see if I could pull the data in from a bookmaker. I think the first one was William Hill. Pulled in some odds from that website, put it into a database, pulled in some odds from a betting exchange as well, compared them and just sort of spat out the results. And it made the process a lot simpler. It was all very basic back then and it was just for my own use. But I decided to put that information up on a website and offer it to people to see if they could make use of it.
Wow.
And that was the first website, which was before Oddsmonkey. I think that one was called Match Betting Assistant. It was a bit of a mouthful.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds like such a challenging project, but it sounds like you handled it really well.
I really enjoyed it, to be honest. It's nice sort of, to set yourself a challenge and then see if you can achieve it. And it kind of developed from there. So a lot of the people that were using that sort of started asking me to add more bookmakers onto there so they could use it for more offers. And then people started saying, like, if you could get this to update even more quickly and add extra functionality to it, then I'd pay to access it. And that was the first time I'd sort of realised that maybe there could be a business here. And
wow. So you sort of noticed at the time that not only could you make money from match betting, but you could maybe make money off the software that you built.
Yeah, and I mean, not to the degree of what it's become. It was just a case of if I could sort of turn it into a little lifestyle business and make some additional money from it. So that was what I set about to do, and sort of kind of started again from the beginning, thinking if I could build this and it needs to scale up and serve a lot more customers and access data from a lot more different sources, bookmakers, then I'd probably do it in a different way. So set about with that, and spent a good few months sort of redeveloping it, and that was the first version of Oddsmonkey.
Wow. So what was the biggest challenge at that time?
The biggest challenge was probably very early Oddsmonkey days, once I launched and started charging for the first time. I mean, back then it was £5 to access it, and it was just the software because I was still working a full-time job. This was all in my spare time, so I didn't have time to teach people how to match bet. So the people that used the website were learning about it on sites like Money Saving Expert and then coming to Oddsmonkey to use the software. So, it was a fairly cheap subscription fee back then just to access the software. It didn't have anywhere near the features that Oddsmonkey's got today. But it was the first time I'd kind of felt that responsibility of people paying for a service and that expectation of, of it being available and working. And that was probably the most difficult, just because I don't want to get too much into the tech and the detail, but when I first developed it, I didn't have a stack of cash to go out and start building it on expensive database servers. So I'd used open source free software to get up and running, and it all worked. But once it started scaling and I was adding more to it, it started creaking a little bit at the edges. And I also got to the point that when it went wrong, because it wasn't the same software that I was using in my day job, the concepts were the same, but I didn't have that support network and experience that I would have had in my day job using the sort of standard databases and resources. So that became quite challenging. When something came wrong, it just took that much longer to fix it.
And I bet that took its toll, like, emotionally as well, because like you say, when you feel that responsibility, like, this is something that, so you don't necessarily have the time to do fully if it's not your full-time job, and because it's so personal to you, you want to do it well.
Yeah, and that's something that I've always been passionate about, is trying to make sure that the customer's getting a good experience. And and we sort of followed that through to the sort of ethos of the company today. But it was a challenge then, and that probably was the most challenging, because it was probably mostly because it was me on my own. So now we've got a team of people, so any challenges in a similar sort of area, you feel they're shared, and it's not quite as overwhelming. There was one particular instance where I think I'd come home from work, probably would have been working on Oddsmonkey at lunchtime as well, because there was always a stack of messages to catch up on. And if a server was down, I was having to send messages to somebody in Germany who would, which is where I was buying the servers from, because they were cheaper, and he had to contact somebody in America to go and reboot that server. So issues like that were cropping up. But I remember on that day, I'd been working day job, came home, had a quick dinner, worked sort of into the evening to sort of like 11, 12 o'clock. And I just remember my wife going to bed and saying goodnight to me, and me just saying, I just want somebody to take it all away. Like, it had just become too much, this responsibility that was just all consuming at the time. And I could see it was being successful. We were sort of gaining customers, but it just seemed too much for me to be doing on my own. So
that sounds so overwhelming.
It was at the time. And I really would have just given it to somebody. If you can keep all these customers happy, then just take it off me. So that's something that I kind of stuck in my mind as one of the low points early on.
That sounds really tough. Considering all of that and thinking back to that moment, did you envisage Oddsmonkey becoming as big as it is today in terms of the actual product, but also like your sort of like ability to keep it going and sort of like the willingness to do that?
It definitely didn't envisage it becoming what it has been, what it has become today. Back then, as I mentioned, I kind of saw that it could be like a lifestyle business, and help us out financially. But along the way, I've started working with some amazing people that have helped me sort of take it on to the next step, start expanding it. So it started in 2010, 2011. In 2016, that was a key moment when we changed from being just me, just with providing the software. It actually turned into a full service match betting website, where we actually trained and educated people that could have come to the website and have no knowledge at all. We showed them how matched betting works, and it became closer to what people know today as Oddsmonkey. So no, I never thought. Every time we sort of either myself got to a new landmark of, right, I want to get 100 users, or I'm going to get 500 users. That's probably about as high as we'll get now. And then suddenly it was thousands and thousands and thousands of users. But every time we got to one of those milestones, it was like, oh, do you think we could get to the next one? And it's grown beyond what I ever thought it could become.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I think when it is so successful as well, that does help to keep you really driven. So like you say, you're always chasing after the next milestone.
It's definitely it helps to have goals. And I think what I found helpful is just to make sure that those goals are kind of as short term as possible. Like I said, going back to the start, my first challenge was to just get the William Hill odds on there. And then it became, right, can I get 10 bookmakers, and can I get up to 50? We've got over 100 bookmakers on the site now. If I'd have set myself that goal early on, then it probably would have been even more overwhelming. But having a target definitely helps to work to.
I can imagine. So what do you think has allowed you to build all of those users, that massive user base? Like, what makes Oddsmonkey such a good tool for match bettors that are just starting?
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of match betting information out there for free still. That's still the case. It's no longer on the Martin Lewis website, but there's loads of sort of similar websites that are out there that you can learn about the basics of match betting and the fundamentals and how it works. The real benefit that customers get that subscribe to Oddsmonkey are they're getting expert support. So all the offers that are on our site have been researched by experts. They've checked through the terms and conditions of every offer just to make sure that, there's nothing there that's going to catch you out, that if you do this offer in this way, then you're going to make money. And that gives our members confidence that they know they don't have to go scouring around looking for offers, checking terms and conditions. And then outside of that, it's the software. I mean, we've got various different tools now that just make the process simple, quicker. It means that you're much less likely to make a mistake because you're getting all that information presented to you in a really easy to understand way. And if you ever do get confused about anything, then you can get in contact with our customer support. We've got email support, we've got live chat on every web page of the site, so there's always somebody around to give you a hand and answer any questions that you've got. We've continued to develop new tools, so if a new offer comes out, then we'll react to that and build a new tool to make sure that our customers can make some money from it.
So when you say tool, can you just explain a little bit about what sort of tools you're talking about?
Yeah, so we've got our core tool, which is the sort of the first tool that I built when I built Oddsmonkey, is Odds Matcher. So the Odds Matcher compares odds, or in its simplest form, compares odds from bookmakers and betting exchanges, aggregates all that data together, and then highlights opportunities where you can bet on both of sides of an event and either lock in a profit or lock in a small loss sometimes, which basically, so if you don't understand if you're listening, you don't understand what match betting is, I know that you do, but so sometimes you lock in a small loss, so you might lose 12 pence in order to unlock a free bet, and then you use the same technique with that free bet, and then you lock in an overall profit out of the process. So the Odds Matcher just makes that really simple. You don't have to go looking, searching and comparing odds. We've then got a selection of other tools. So we've got the Racing Matcher, we've got a Dutch Matcher. So they're all tools that are focused around different ways of making money from similar opportunities. So the Racing Match is really focused on horse racing events because there's some different types of offers there that need a slightly different approach. So we've built tools that mean that our customers can take advantage of those offers in the simplest way as possible. Yeah,
that sounds good. Thanks for breaking that down, because I think sometimes, again, when you're like just talking about all these tools that people might need, it might sound like match betting is this massive thing that you need to unlock and understand. And I mean, like you say, Oddsmonkey is there to help through that process. But,
I mean, that's essentially, as I see it, our aim is, I mean, match betting, if you're learning about it and just reading about it, can seem overwhelming and quite difficult to understand. Our aim is to make it as simple as possible, by using well-written guides, video content, offering live chat support, and building software that just makes it simple and easy to understand. Because if we do that well, then it means that it's therefore accessible by so many more people around the country. I mean, match betting can give you a way to make some additional income on the side, obviously in the sort of current economic climate, there's lots of people out there that would be of benefit to, but they might not have ever placed a bet before, so it might sound quite daunting. So I think that's the key to what Oddsmonkey's trying to do, is to try and make it as simple for as many people as possible.
I think the other thing to add to that is your social communities that you've got, because like you say, the users of Oddsmonkey obviously have you guys to rely on as well. But also there's this massive community of people, and you can find like-minded people that are, going through the same thing. If you've got an issue, or you've got a problem or a question, like someone, whether they work for Oddsmonkey or they're just someone that does the same thing that you are, you've always got that support network.
Yeah, definitely. Our communities are fantastic. And I mean, I often spend a lot of time in our Facebook community, for example, just because it's a great way of learning what the customers are feeling, what their experiences are. But I see customers ask questions in there, and we've got a team of support people that are checking it regularly and jumping in to answer those questions, but they still often get answered by somebody else in the community first, which is, great great to see. And I think it offers as well for anyone that's not sure about match betting, they can join our Facebook group for free. They can jump in there. And I think it offers that kind of social proof that you can actually see from there's real people out there doing this and making money from it. So anyone that's not too sure, it's a great place to start to start learning a little bit more about it.
Yeah, and they can see that this process is trustworthy, it's reliable, and I think, and because it's so accessible, because like I say, Facebook, like everyone has a Facebook account, so it's such a nice place to start and have it all in one place.
Yeah.
Okay, so bearing in mind everything that you've just said about how Oddsmonkey's grown, and about making short-term goals, where do you envisage Oddsmonkey going in the future? What do you think is next?
Right. So I'd say that, the real goal is, like I just kind of mentioned, is to try and make it as accessible to as many people as possible. So we've got quite a lot. I mean, I head up the product team at Oddsmonkey now. So we're really focused on making that product as good as it possibly can be. So what that involves is talking to our users as much as possible, using that feedback along with data we collect from the system in terms of what tools are being used, what experiences people are going through, and we sort of work to collate all of that data and try and use that to drive our kind of product roadmap of what we'll be working on in the near future. So we've got quite a few plans in place for improving the product, simplifying it even more. I mean, it's the benefit of having those communities is you get such good feedback, and not positive feedback. I mean, useful feedback. It might be positive, it might be negative, but if it's constructive, and that really helps us because that feeds into our plans in the future. So there's lots of tweaks and different tools and functionality that we'll be looking to introduce to make things easier in the future, and hopefully introduce it to more people. So
what should users of Oddsmonkey already, who are already signed up, already using the platform, what can they expect to see in the coming months?
So in the current roadmap, so we're working on a new mobile app, which will be focused on notifications. You'll have an easy app that you can download that will be, I mean, we used to have a mobile app that you could use on the website. The problem is there's challenges around that and keeping it up to date. And with the new website that we launched last year, it's now completely mobile friendly. So there could be an argument there's no longer a need for a fully sort of functional mobile app because you can do everything by just browsing to Oddsmonkey. You get the mobile view. So the focus on this new mobile app is just for notifications. So there's lots of, obviously we're checking and comparing odds all the time from all these different bookmakers. We're updating guides, we're updating offers. We've got an on-site community as well as Facebook. So you can follow threads on the on-site community and we can notify you. So there's ways of doing it now. We use emails for notifications a lot, but obviously push notifications to your phone. I mean that we can make sure that you see something when the opportunity is there. And sometimes, an opportunity might pop up, and if everyone jumps on it, it might only be around for a few minutes. So we need to make sure that all of our member base see that. So that's something that we're excited to come out. And if an offer gets updated or a new offer gets added to the website, obviously our customers want to know about that as soon as possible.
Mobile notifications, that sounds really good, because I think, like you say, users need to know about it on the go, and like I say, it's a really quick way to hear about all the latest updates. Is there anything that they should know in terms of like the web journey or things that they're doing already?
So we'll be continuing to work on the free user experience, as we call it. So that's the part of the website, like the beginner guide that people see when they first join the website. That's obviously crucially important to make sure that we make it as easy to understand as possible. And there's also other areas like our refer a friend scheme we're looking to change and make that easier to share with your friends and make sure that we can reward you as part of that. So that's another one to look out for.
That's exciting.
And we'll also be working on the existing tools, so Odds Matcher and the experience there. We've like I said, we've collected lots of feedback there, so we'll be making some tweaks to that to make it easier to use on mobiles and on the desktop. Just tweaks to improve that experience. Like I said, we get lots of feedback. We can't always act on every bit of feedback. Obviously, some of it's subjective. What we do is we collate it. We look at the big picture and work out where we can focus our time to get the sort of best benefits for the most customers as possible.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's really important to listen to your customers and make sure you're serving them, because obviously they're they're using your product, they know what's good, and they know what's, needs a bit of improvement more than anyone.
100%.
So it's really good that you've given yourselves the opportunity to get that feedback and you use it as well.
Yeah, and that's an ongoing process as well. So we'll continue to do that, and we've got a strong beta test group now. So once we've changed it, we can run it past a few users first before we release it to the wider group. But then continuing to look at have these changes improved, what we were trying to improve, and continue to talk to the customers to make sure that that's all working as we'd expect.
Is that beta test group, is that just like normal customers as opposed to employees?
Yeah, it's kind of normal customers that we've reached out to that have volunteered to be beta testers. So,
can anyone be a beta tester?
They can, we normally identify sometimes we reach out to a specific subset of customers. If we're trying to test a certain tool that we know some customers have shown an interest in based on what they're using the site for, then we might reach out to those. But if anyone's interested in being a beta tester, then let us know, and we can put you on the list and let you know when there's something to test that you'll find of interest.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. What about outside of Oddsmonkey? Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you like to do when you're not if you've got any spare time outside of working on Oddsmonkey. What do you do?
So it might not be very exciting, but so I quite enjoy doing a bit of woodwork outside of Oddsmonkey, and I did get really into the sourdough craze over lockdown. So I kind of feel I had a slightly better reason than some. I wasn't just following the trend. So my wife can't eat commercial yeast, so the only bread she can have is sourdough. And normally we get our sourdough from a lovely bakery in Cambridge, but it was outside of, I can't remember what the rules were at the time, but it was outside of where you could go to get your food at the time. So I kind of set about the task of trying to make my own sourdough at home. Lots of reading and lots of YouTube videos. The first loaf wasn't great, but now it's up to a fairly decent standard now. We don't buy any sourdough, we make it all. So it's okay. But I think I find that it's probably similar. See, I said before, I was a computer programmer, and which probably sounds a long way away from making bread and woodwork. But I think the thing that I really enjoyed about being a computer programmer was, and that I probably miss now, I do a lot less of it, is the kind of the creative side of it. You have a plan, you build something, and at the end of it, there's like a finished result. And I think that's probably why I quite like the woodwork and the sourdough. Is it's kind of similar in that way, and maybe it's the kind of creative side of me.
Absolutely. Because when you first listed woodwork and baking, I was thinking that is so creative. So like say on the surface they might not sound like very similar interests, but like you say, you've got that thread of creativity going through all through each of them. I think that's I find that to be my outlet, and it means also that I'm away from a computer and I can be focused on that, and which is quite hard to do, and you get to eat freshly baked bread.
And it's
dream.
And it's expanded now. So sourdough focaccia, and hot cross buns.
Oh, amazing! Just in time for Easter.
Yes,
that sounds great. At the end of every podcast, we like to do a 2 truths and a 1 lie from all of our podcast guests. I mean, you know that, seeing as you've been on the podcast already.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, to be quite honest. It's so hard to come up with lies, and
it's just too honest.
Well,
but did you manage to come up with some today?
I'll let's have a think. So Oddsmonkey, through our affiliate and refer a friend scheme to date, we've paid out over £1 million in referral fees.
Wow. Okay,
that's one. Oddsmonkey are approaching 500,000 customers that have joined the site since we started.
Okay.
And so at Oddsmonkey, we collect, as we've touched on, information and data from bookmakers for hundreds of different sports and events across over 100 bookmakers and betting exchanges. So we've got 5 betting exchanges on the site, which is more than any other match betting website. And those exchange odds, we update those, even though it's across hundreds of markets and hundreds of bookmakers, which means we're dealing with sort of hundreds of thousands of odds all the time. We aim to update those exchange odds every 3 minutes and continue to do that on an ongoing basis.
Wow.
So,
So we've got over £1 million in affiliate and referral fees.
Yeah.
Coming up to 500,000 users for Oddsmonkey.
Yeah.
And 3 minutes.
3 minutes for all of
updating
our
odds.
exchange prices. Yeah.
I think you could be over 500,000 users of Oddsmonkey. I think it's plausible that you spent that much money on affiliate and refer a friend, because that's quite a good method of marketing, but it can be quite expensive. So I think that's true. I think the odds updating could be true. I think potentially it could be quicker than that. I think you're over 500,000. I think you're over 500,000. So I think that's your lie.
Okay.
How did I do?
So the over 1 million paid out in affiliate and refer a friend is true. Approaching 500,000 is true. We are approaching 500,000. Sorry, it's not more.
Not quite at the mark yet.
No, yeah, we're getting there. I thought it was a high number. Obviously not high enough, but yeah. And the lie was the exchange odds. So we actually update the odds a lot more quickly than that for betting exchanges. So it's normally between 1 and 2 minutes, sometimes quicker. But it should never be more than 2 minutes. And,
I did think maybe it was quicker than that, but then I thought, I don't know, I don't want to undersell it. But so it's between 1 and 2 minutes updating the odds.
Yeah, and sometimes, quite often quicker. So, as you know, we've got really close integrations with the betting exchanges. Yeah. That means we can pull that data in. And when you're actually using our tools, depending on how much you understand about match betting, this may or may not mean anything to you. But once you open up the calculator and you're about to place your bet, it's actually instant then. So, there's no delay or latency at all. Right, as soon as you open up that calculator, it's talking to Smarkets and saying, is this information still correct? And if it's not, we'll let you know and we'll update all the calculations. So another reason that it's really useful to use Oddsmonkey rather than doing it yourself, because otherwise you're sort of while you're keeping track and flicking screens, those odds can change, whereas Oddsmonkey's constantly checking to make sure that those exchange prices are as you expected when you first started.
That's really useful. That's
Definitely.
Really good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Paul. It's been great to have you.
Yeah,
it's been great to hear all about the story of Oddsmonkey.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks very much for having me. It's been good to chat.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
All right, thank you.
And thank you to listeners at home. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you enjoyed it. We've got more great match betting content coming up for you with more great guests. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to sign up to Smarkets. New users can trade with 0% commission for 60 days with the code COMFREE, but T's and C's always apply. You can reach us on Twitter at Smarkets. Where can users reach you, Paul? Oddsmonkey.com is the website. And email support is support@oddsmonkey.com. Nice. And there's live chat on the website as well. So get in touch. And as we've touched on, the Facebook group's a great place to start as well. If you're on Facebook, then the official Oddsmonkey Facebook group. Perfect. So if you've got any more questions, let us know and we can answer them for you. So thank you very much for listening. Bye.